Breaking news, President Trump just now tweeting, quote, "I don't care what the political ramifications are. Our immigration laws and border security have been a complete and total disaster for decades, and there's no way that the Democrats will allow it to be fixed without a government shutdown. Border security is national security, and national security is the long-term viability of our country. A government shutdown is a very small price to pay for a safe and prosperous America." Well, reaction to that now from policy advisor to America First Policies and Canary LLC CEO Dan Eberhart. Dan, first, your thoughts this morning. The narrative was that President Trump was okay with delaying a potential shutdown ahead of the midterm elections, perhaps after being persuaded by folks like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, well, I think that Trump is really trying to look at all options on the table to get the wall and the economic policies he wants. I think he's, obviously, as he's proven, not afraid of a fight, whether it's before the midterms or after the midterms.
Well, and I do also believe that the one shutdown saga drama that we had, it felt like Chuck Schumer was the one who blinked. I think universally, most people think when you look at it, it was Chuck Schumer who blinked. So maybe Trump's calculus is right on this. Maybe the Dems would have more to lose than Republicans.
Well, I think the Dems absolutely do have more to lose, and I think that Trump has shown, by showing his hand, he's also shown that he's tough and he's aggressive and assertive, and he's trying to get something done for the American people.
I think also if he does this, there's a new thing in Washington, D.C., and that's get off the status quo, right? In other words, the idea that everyone complains about the same things, whether it's unfair trade, whether it's this or that, and no one acts on it. And here's a president who continuously acts on it, and he shocks people, and everyone's like, whoa, you're not supposed to do that. But if we just complain, the issues never get resolved.
Sure. Well, there's a saying I've heard many times in Washington, we need comprehensive reform, and what that means is it's the next generation's problem. We're just going to talk about it. And I think that Trump just hasn't read that book, and he's out to get stuff done, and he's a bull in the china shop, and, he's trying to govern at the speed of business, not at the speed of government. It throws a lot of people off.
It really does. Also, he's thrown off to a degree the Koch brothers. President Trump tweeting about the Koch brothers, saying that they're, quote, "a total joke in real Republican circles." This after the Koch network expressed openness to backing Democrats. Dan, you were at their last gathering.
Yeah, in Colorado Springs this weekend. First of all, I think that what the Kochs do for helping communities help themselves is largely unreported and really a great thing for this country. But I think that Trump is, stylistically, I wouldn't have said what he said, but I think he's right in terms of, governing is much harder than being on the outside throwing rocks at people that are running and throwing rocks at people that are trying to govern. And I think that, while the Kochs have a good libertarian streak, and there's an awful lot of good in their platform and what they're trying to do, I think that Trump has got, an enormously difficult task in front of him, trying to govern and move the economy forward and, have an assertive foreign policy. And I think that it's complicated.
Yeah, everyone talks their book. Is the Koch brother book cheap labor, cheap raw materials that come in from other countries, porous borders? And if that is, then they're going to certainly be out of tune with President Trump and his voters, because it feels like they threw down the gauntlet to Republicans specifically, saying, hey, you either follow us as you pick us, or you pick the Trump voter. That's a difficult spot for some of these folks who need money from them.
Yeah, and I think that I would characterize what they're after and what they're about is a little bit differently. I think they're for free trade. I think they're for a smaller government. I think they're for a more efficient government. I think they just get frustrated, as I do sometimes too, but with politicians that say one thing when they're running and then pivot a different way when they get in.
Well, they say this time they're going to be held accountable. Dan, really appreciate it.
Thank you.